I guess I want to comment on some of the points that Mr. Brooks had made. He was talking about, class sizes of, 15 students. Well, I know my kids are in those kind of class sizes. We're talking about some of the anatomy and biology classes, 36 kids. And I'm a nurse, and I feel those are very important classes, but you're doing 31 and 36 kids in a class. And I think the room sizes, there's only enough for maybe 28 lab sections. So I'm not sure what the teachers are doing with those other kids when they're doing the lab. Because when I was in college, my labs weren't that big. So, I think that's something we really need to look at. And also, I know there's English classes out there. I think there's a 7th grade English class in the high 30s. 8th grade. I mean, and that's, I can't imagine that many 8th grade kids in a class for a teacher. And when Mr. Brooks talks about the MTA test, we've got a third of that test is English, and a third of that test is science. And both of those areas we're looking at cutting. I think in the anatomy, biology is like 0.45 or something like that, and also English we're thinking about cutting in those areas. So what's going to happen to that 36 kid class? Is it going to go up to 40? I mean, if you're going to cut that much of a teacher in that area, I mean, it's just unfathomable that you could do something like that. And my kid, my son is a sophomore. He's moving through the system. And, and I'm thinking, well, if he's going to go to a class size like that, I might as well send him to St. Cloud State and, he can go there. And it's going to save me money. I don't want to do that, but when you're talking about that type of class size. And I know there was an article, and I know this has been brought up already, but there was an article in the paper in the Herald a few months ago where they were talking about the declining enrollment that we have in the school. And I think they came up with a number like maybe there's 500 less kids in the school than we had 10 years ago. And at that point in time, and since then, we have cut between maybe 14, 16 teachers, something like that. And we've done nothing to administration. There again, we talked about that discrepancy. And you had mentioned about the different jobs that the administrators do, the writing of grants, those kinds of things. Well, I know I was talking to one of the other school board members, and she said one of the principals had written a grant for $7,000. Well, compared to maybe $80,000 salary, I don't know. There's like a little discrepancy there. So, I think we need to look out of the box. We need to change how we're doing things because it's not going to get any better. We all know what's going on in the legislature. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse the next 2 years, the next 4 years. It's not going to get any better. So these cuts, and you can't just keep nickeling and diming on the teachers because they're basically a bare bones staff the way it is right now. So, we need to look at different options. I know when we first came here, and for years, community ed was done by the elementary principal. There wasn't a separate position that was done by the elementary principal. And I think we are maybe one of the few districts in the area, and I'm not sure what the athletic director, what type of position is that. That's a half-time position combined with community ed or what. But I think we need to, maybe pull some of those people in to go back to do some of the classroom. So there again, people I talked about, we need to change how we do things. Because we need to look long-term here, even 2, 4 years, 10 years out. Because if you think about it, if we would have maybe started cutting some administration 10 years ago, and, they making, $80,000, that's $800,000, $900,000. Obviously, we can't change that because that was 10 years ago, but I think we need to think about doing something like that or doing something. We need to change how we're doing something.